Brad Humphrey, and this is another Learning While Listening podcast. Today's topic, netting greater productivity. There is a story about the building of the Golden Gate Bridge that should resonate with contractors of any size. During the construction of the bridge, several workers fell to their deaths into the San Francisco Bay's cold and turbulent waters. Concerned that their bridge would be slowed down from finishing on time, the builders, especially the head engineer, had a large net safely secured to the building portion of the bridge. In fact, it extended several feet outside the width of the bridge as it ran the length of the bridge across the bay, more than 1.5 miles across. The net was similar in use to a net that might be under a tightrope, preventing a walker from injury or death. After the net was installed, several men did fall during the remaining construction, but they fell into the safety of the net. Scared to death, I'm sure, but alive and able to go home at night to their families. In fact, men had to be instructed not to jump into the net for entertainment purposes. That's how much they trusted their new security blanket. Now, to bring this story closer to contractors, and a very interesting side point of this illustration, the productivity of the bridge after the installation of the safety net was said to have increased some 25%. What had been a project behind even the most conservative of schedules began to pick up steam and finish strong. Now, consider this point. While working on a dangerous construction project, when the workers knew they could work with little risk of falling to their deaths, they were secure to unleash their real work potential. Moral of the story? Provide a safe work culture for employees and you may see even greater productivity. Now, while most contractors will never build a Golden Gate Bridge type project, there are risks involved with just about every specialty of construction. A contractor should always recognize any unsafe threats to their workers and assertively reduce those threats while educating their people on safe work processes as well as techniques. However, there are other types of threats that also need a safety net to ensure the workers are comfortable and confident to give their best effort every day. Let's take a look at some of the work issues today that might benefit from having a safety net in place. The first day on the job for a new employee. Most contractors do a less than great job at making the new employee feel welcomed and appreciated. Remember, the first day on a new job for an employee should leave them with nothing but affirmation that they made a wise career choice by coming to work for your organization. When the new employee is provided a clear picture of what the company represents, who their customer is, and what they will be doing, and whom they will be working with, this same employee will gain confidence sooner and be more excited to work harder earlier. The safety net. Well, the safety net here is to ensure that every new employee is clearly welcomed from their leader and work associates, and developing a 90-day plan that lines out just what the new employee will be doing, when or she will be learning new skills, where they might be working at, and with whom they will be working. Such a net will inspire early positive attitudes and create greater confidence within the employee that the company wants them to succeed and has prepared for their success. A second issue. The senior leader is not open to ideas or challenges. This remains one of the oldest frustrations for many construction workers of all ages and experience level. Working for the manager who demonstrates little interest in new ideas and does not want their decisions or ideas to be challenged can quickly accelerate the motivational plunge within promising and thinking employees. The safety net. The safety net here is that leaders must show visible proof that not only do they welcome new ideas, but also that they appreciate workers who can challenge their ideas and past practices. This is how companies improve. It is through challenging old processes and seeking new and innovative methods that a company grows, expands, and excels. A third issue. lack of project planning and organization. Hey, nothing sends a more clear signal to employees than beginning a project without knowledge of what the job is, what will be needed, and what are the job expectations. With all the proof today that planned jobs produce better results, it is unforgivable that any contractor would ever allow their crew leaders to begin work without a work plan for the day, a week, or more look-ahead schedule, and a confirmation that key performance, safety, and quality issues have been addressed. The safety net. The safety net for this issue is really quite simple. First of all, no contractor should ever allow any of their project and crew leaders to commence work without a clear work plan that identifies key concerns, contact information, and job expectations and goals. To do otherwise is simply inviting nervous workers fearing that they will fail. Therefore, every contractor should have in place and consistently exercised the completion of every organizational and planning tool available and appropriate for their specialty of work. Investing in such tools and executing them consistently will remove a fear of failure and instead unleash a clear production focus by all workers. Another issue, a worker not being included as a team member. Many contractors are realizing employee turnover. For some, they may have something close to a revolving door of workers who are hired and then in less than a few days to a few months leave for another company. After studying this phenomenon in construction, I have concluded that many contractors simply never really developed a good team-based work culture among their existing employees. I have witnessed a new employee who literally was not addressed by other workers on their crew or project, including the new employee sitting alone and away from a few of the workers who were engaged in lively discussions at a lunch break. In another situation, a new employee showed up for the very first day of work at the yard. The crew foreman told them to stand off to the side. They would be addressed in a few moments. 30 minutes later, all of the crews left and no one asked this new employee to join them, and he stayed behind. The safety net. The safety net for this issue is pure and simple. It's called socialization. Humans have a need to interact with other human beings. When that is not in place, it can negatively impact the morale and intrinsic motivation of employees. The net installed should engage education for all workers on communication skills, how to conduct small talk, and recognizing the benefits of different personalities and people who are different. Employees who do not feel welcomed or part of a team are always a high risk to leave. Yet another issue, the fear of making mistakes. Similar to working for a manager who doesn't appreciate new ideas, if our workers have a fear of making a mistake, the kiss of death is upon the leader and the company. Certainly, we need to prevent repeating the same mistakes, but learning is still greatly accelerated when mistakes are part of the learning process. I also realize that as I share this with you, that making a $100,000 mistake is different than a $500 mistake. However, I've worked with many contractors and leaders through the years who made that big $100,000 mistake, and they learned lots from having made it. The takeaway for us on this issue is that as leaders, we've got to put a net of safety in place that physically and mentally and emotionally reduces the fear of making a mistake or face less effort, less improvement suggestions, and less productivity. The choice is ours. The safety net? The safety net needed is a regular and consistent reassurance spoken by the leader to clearly state the need to work hard and smart without fear of falling. That's the installation of the net. Then the leader must back that verbal commitment up by not overreacting or worse, disciplining, or even terminating a worker when they made a mistake. I would encourage leaders to buy a box of straws and chew on them when a mistake has been made. Explore why a mistake happened for sure. Explore what the process was that wasn't for sure. But do not go after the individual personally. Another issue: working under a micromanager or control freak. I hear these nicknames for leaders from their direct reports from time to time, and to be honest with you, I think the names are misplaced. In most cases that I have found, the leaders in question is simply trying to follow up on assignments that they have given, ensuring that what was expected to be completed is in fact completed, many times because the employee does not give them enough feedback and let them know what the status of a project task is. However, there are those leaders who can be almost obsessed with never letting go of tasks, jobs, or projects, and this is the issue, like many of the prior issues addressed, that can cause a real motivational plunge in workers' attitudes. The safety net. The safety net for the confirmed micromanager or control freak is made more challenging because of the personal nature of the individual involved. This safety net is very much controlled by the leader. They must learn to trust their workers. These same leaders must learn to more properly delegate, working to ensure that the individual taking the work on understands the expectations, knows how to work the needed systems and processes, and understands the priority and timeline needs. It's important also for the leader to understand how their action can send employees off the cliff with frustration and anxiety because they feel that their leader doesn't trust them or lack the faith in their execution. The leader must get over such issues and recognize that they cannot expand their boundaries of greater accomplishment if they are spending time micromanaging. And the last issue that I want to address, and it's quite common, unfortunately, today. Older workers looking down at younger workers, and younger workers demonstrating a lack of respect for older workers. There has always been a bit of a rub between older workers and their younger peers. Most of the time, the rub can be good-natured. It's sometimes just good teasing, but when there's a problem with the same issue, leaders must address it head-on. In most cases, it's a matter of the older worker feeling threatened or not wanting to embrace perhaps an idea that came from the younger generation. For the younger worker, they may feel like the older worker is discounting their ideas or skills, perhaps even feeling like they are being spoken to like a parent would speak to their child. Either situation isn't healthy, and it should be addressed. Our final safety net. The safety net here is a suggestion that contractors need to embrace all ages in their organization and to ensure that everyone, including frontline supervisors, foremen, project managers, other leaders, all understand that in construction, we can learn many things from many different employees, regardless of age. Now, this thought can be reinforced at meetings, through company-wide emails, and through general interactions. The effort should be to reinforce who shared an idea that is working or who made the extra effort to correct a problem, no matter the age of the individual. When senior leaders demonstrate their appreciation for workers of all ages, ethnicity, work backgrounds, then you will begin to see the barriers separating some begin to fall away. Hey, implementing the safety nets presented here do not guarantee 100% success. In fact, even the Golden Gate Bridge, after the net was installed, still lost several to death due to something even the engineers could not have planned for. You ought to read up on it. It's actually quite interesting. But the net did empower the workers to work harder, faster, and with more confidence in their own safety. Gaining greater productivity isn't all about doing more work, working more hours, installing more technology. Just as important is the improving our workers' sense of safety, physically first,